the recording. Perfect. So in this session, we will try to understand what is SAP BTP, what is ABAP on cloud, followed by a very simple use case to be demonstrated in the system in the SAP BTP Abap environment. I will open my SAP BTP Abap environment, which I have already set up for this demo purpose, and I will show you a very simple use case. During this course, I will also share the course content and all the material. So today we are going to discuss the overview and what is the course content that we are going to cover or that we are going to discuss in the next 35 hours, approximately 35 hours of this training. I have to admit others as well. All right, so some of you, if you can admit if anyone is waiting in the lobby, that would be really helpful for me. Thank you. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get started with our live demo. So this is the agenda for today. We will start with SAP BTP or SAP Business Technology Platform. It is a cloud-based set of tools and services designed to support businesses in building, integrating, and managing applications. So in a very layman terms, of course, we are going to talk more about SAP BTP during this course. But to get started, we will try to understand where SAP BTP fits in the whole ecosystem of SAP. So we all are coming from SAP background. We have been working in different areas. Then suddenly we hear a new term, SAP BTP, and where this fits in this ecosystem that we will try to understand today. So get ready to learn where your ABAP skills can take you in the cloud. And here I literally mean in the cloud. Using ABAP, we are going to develop applications in the cloud. We are no more limited or restricted to on-premise or to install an SAP GUI to an SAP NetWeaver versions. No, we are going to do this development in the cloud, which will be our SAP BTP ABAP environment. All right. Then we will discuss what is the motivation for you to learn ABAP on cloud. We will discuss the benefits of RESTful application programming model. It's a very popular term nowadays. There are basically two programming models, and one of the programming model is RESTful application programming model. So we are going to discuss about RESTful application programming model, the benefits in today's demo, and then eventually during this course, we will discuss in detail about RESTful application programming model. After this, I will jump into the system and show you a live demo by creating a sales order query application. So we will see that how using CDS entities, how using annotation, we can create a Fiori application. We are going to use our ABAP knowledge along with some new syntax that we are going to use. It is not required to have any prerequisite or any prior knowledge of UI5, HTML, SAP Gateway, OData. No, nothing is required. Whatever is required as ABAP on cloud, that we are going to cover in this course. Then we will have some time where you can ask your questions, any questions that you have about the course content, what we are going to cover, what we are not going to cover, all such questions, anything specific on the duration, timings, all such questions we are going to take. Okay, then moving on to our first topic, SAP BTP or SAP Business Technology Platform. I hope it is not too small. You guys can hear it, because if I'm going into the presentation mode, it is not allowing me to share. Or should I zoom in a little bit? It's better now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so SAP BTP or SAP Business Technology Platform, the short form or the acronym is BTP. As I mentioned, it's a cloud-based, it's a set of tools and services that we are going to see eventually. What are the tools? What are the services that are available in SAP BTP? It is designed to support the business in building, the application, in extending the application, in integrating the multiple or heterogeneous environment. So maybe a SAP environment to another SAP environment, or an SAP environment to a non-SAP environment, and managing their application and data. That is what a general purpose of an SAP consultant is. Be it any SAP consultant. Are you, if you're coming from a functional background, if you're coming from a technical background, you're doing data analytics. If I were to sum it up in a very simple terms, this is what all of us are doing. Okay. What we do more, we customize, we enhance the standard SAP solution that has been provided by SAP. Uh, Coming to the technical people, since most of us are from ABAP background, what we do, we create new reports, we create new screens, we create new applications, we extend existing reports, screens, and application. We integrate SAP with other non-SAP and SAP system. Then you will ask me, Vishal, we already have been doing this. Then why suddenly BTP? What is BTP going to bring to us that we are not doing it? Okay. So think of SAP BTP like in Google Drive for business. Just as Google Drive, what you do, you can store, you can access, or even you can share your files, your documents from anywhere. And earlier, if Google Drive was not there, what we were doing, we needed an USB drive, we needed a CD, we needed external hard disk, we needed all type of devices to maybe to store, to share, to access the information, documents, photos, maybe some installation file, whatever we were storing. So similar to Google Drive, SAP BTP centralizes everything a business needs in the cloud. This is important. It is in the cloud. And that's how it makes customizing, integration, managing SAP system more flexible, more faster, and everything is in one platform. So in the subsequent slides, when I am showing you the details of SAP BTP, you will see that it's a centralized repository, it's a centralized platform of all the tools, all the services that you need. Okay, so before seeing the services, before seeing the tools, what SAP BTP offers, let us try to understand this cloud service model, because it is important. I have been talking that SAP BTP is a cloud offering, ABAP on cloud. We are going to do development in the cloud. Then to understand all such concepts, it is important that we understand what are the cloud service models. In this diagram, you can see the left-hand side is the traditional architecture, how generally an IT application or IT functions in any organization. And then right-hand side, in contrast, you are seeing the how the IT architecture is now with SAP BTP, not only with SAP BTP, but with cloud coming into picture. So uh, let me take a step back and let's start with a very simple question. If I go back probably 10 years back in history, how did you store all your photos, all your documents, installation files, anything important that you wanted to store in, I mean, store digitally? How were you doing that? Anyone would like to answer that?
in in memories or in hard drives or in
Right,
any
right.
other hard disk.
Right. So that's right. I mean, and in fact, most of you are probably thinking about the same things: pen drives, CD-ROMs, or maybe external hard disk. I mean, even I remember I was carrying a big external hard disk where all my information was there. So that is right. And back then, we were limited by these physical devices. So now think of the challenges you were facing during those times. I mean, that at that point of time, it looked very convenient, but now when we are looking back, we are able to see that, okay, what are the challenges we faced during that time. So first challenge, if you wanted to access your file, you had to plug in that device and hope that it was not corrupted, it was in the right version, and then you were able to either access it from the external drives, or you copied it into your machine, your PC on laptop, and that then you were able to access it. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And also think about the times when you had stored something in a CD drive, and because of some kind of scratch or maybe some kind of virus, all your information got corrupted and you were not able to track back. You were not able to retrieve the data. And if it was important, you tried all possible ways. Maybe in some cases, you were able to retrieve some bits and pieces of information, but restoring and retrieving everything was not possible. Then we also had to worry about securing the data. If we were storing in the pen drive, we always were worried that, okay, what is the kind of antivirus we should put in so that we can check for different viruses. If we were connecting any external pen drives, we always used to ask the person, okay, there is no virus in it, right? I remember I always used to ask the person, okay, there is no virus in it. And then only I used to plug in that pen drive. So we had to worry about all such things: accessing the data, securing the data, backing up the data, uh, and even if the memory was full, we had to think of alternative. Okay, what now? Do I buy another CD drive? Do I buy another pen drive? What I need to do if I want to store more information? But now think about how we store our data today. Are we doing the same thing? Anyone? Are we doing the same thing?
No, no.
Then what are we doing now?
We are storing it into our cloud IDs.
Correct. Exactly. So any cloud-based solution, there are many cloud-based solutions available in the market. We have Google Drive, we have Dropbox, and there are so on. So today we don't have to think about storage, how to access the data, security, backups. All that is managed in the cloud and by the cloud service provider. Are you worried about how it is secured, uh, how your data is secured in Google Drive? If there is some kind of vulnerability, if there is some security threat, Google is taking care of that. I mean, maybe you will get some kind of a notification, some action you will take, but it is the responsibility of Google to make sure that your data is secured. Do you know where your data is physically stored? You know that it is stored in Google Drive, but what is the physical location your data is stored? Where are the servers for Google? Do you know that? What kind of operating system Google is using? What kind of antivirus Google is using? Of course, it is in the cloud because you can access it from anywhere, but even Google will have its data center somewhere physically. Am I correct or not?
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Yes.
So, do you know where is the data center? You might know that, okay, if I am coming from India, most probably it will be wise for Google to store my data in India. But do you know exactly where in India, what kind of operating system Google is using, what kind of antivirus Google is using? How is it taking the backup of the data? Let's say if they have a data center in Mumbai, and because of the rain, there is a flood-like situation in Mumbai. So then all their data will be corrupted. So of course, Google is taking a backup of those data somewhere. Do you know where, how that is done? No, the answer is no. We are not bothered about that even. We simply have created an account with Google, and we log into that account. We store our data, all our files, folders in the Google Drive, which is related to that account. We can access it, and then we can change, we can manipulate the data. That is what we are doing. We are not bothered about what is happening in the background. So this is the evolution from physical storage devices to cloud storage. And that is what you can see in this diagram. So infrastructure as a service, that is what Google is providing. It is providing you as an infrastructure. Earlier, you had to take care of that infrastructure. You had to purchase your external hard disk. You had to install any kind of an application to run that external hard disk, any kind of an antivirus that you were doing. Now it is providing as a service by the infrastructure provider. And there are many examples of that: Google, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, even SAP, Alibaba. All of these are infrastructure providers. Okay, now let's go one step further. Now let's apply this to SAP. How we used to develop ABAP programs. What was the minimum requirement for you to develop an ABAP program? I am not talking about the machine, the laptop, the operating system that we have already taken care as an infrastructure as a provider. Once you have your laptop, what was the basic or the minimum requirement for you to write an ABAP program, even a Hello World program? What was that needed?
SAP
So,
GUI.
yeah, go ahead, please.
SAP GUI is session editor you require, or Eclipse.
Okay, yeah, Eclipse would be required, but even for Eclipse, you would require SAP GUI, because then only you will be able to connect the system in in Eclipse, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the component that was getting installed in SAP GUI? If I say you were basically installing SAP NetWeaver servers.
Editor.
I'm so sorry, I could not hear you. Can you come again, please? Was that a question for
Compiler
me?
or editor.
Yeah, compiler and editor, that's correct. In a very layman term, that's actually was a compiler and editor, but it was coming in form of SAP NetWeaver. And that's the reason, if you would have ever worked on ABAP on HANA, or if you remember the SAP NetWeaver version, we used to call it as SAP NetWeaver AS ABAP 7.4, AS ABAP 7.5, 7.55, whatever. So it was the NetWeaver version that we were talking about. And what was there in the NetWeaver? It was a compiler, it was an interpreter. So let me see if I have a diagram for that as well. Yeah, I need to zoom in a little bit, but let's see. Yep. So this is a very high level diagram or architecture diagram of SAP NetWeaver, and you had the different component. You also had the component AS ABAP, and when we were talking about SAP NetWeaver AS ABAP, we were basically talking about the version of this component. So this component was actually a kind of an editor, compiler, and interpreter, which was executing your ABAP programs. It was validating that it is syntactically correct, and then it was interpreting and generating whatever results that you have written in the ABAP code. It was running that ABAP code and it was generating the result. So that is correct. Let me come back here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So that's correct. So that is what we were installing. But now now again, I mean, try to compare this. This setup was very similar to what we discussed. We had to install this in our machine, and we were limited. So if I am working with one of the machine where SAP NetWeaver, SAP GUI is installed, if I log into another system, I would not be able to work. I would not be able to log into the same system because I don't have SAP GUI installed over there. So we had to repeat the same step again. We had to either install SAP GUI in that machine also, or maybe, I mean, there could be alternatives. You could do a remote login, and then from the same desktop you can access. So using a VDI, all those things are there. But yes, you needed SAP GUI to work. Even to write a Hello World program in ABAP, you needed SAP GUI. Now, with the evolution of technology, now everything is cloud based. Every organization, every technology is ultimately moving towards cloud. So SAP also thought of a solution that, okay, we somehow have to remove this dependency, that, okay, you need a platform to be installed, then only you will be able to write your ABAP code, or you will be able to develop integration. I am relating this example with reference to ABAP, but even if you wanted to develop an integration, you had to install the PIPO component, and for that also you needed SAP GUI. And of course, there was some browser-based access, but you needed SAP GUI. So then SAP also thought of this, and they came up with their platform as a service. So even NetWeaver was a platform, but it was on premise. Now they came up with as a platform as a service. They know that, okay, now there are many infrastructure providers where we will host this SAP BTP service, and then you do not need to install. You do not need to install SAP GUI. You will simply create an account with SAP BTP. You will log in through a browser, or maybe a different, like, for example, we will require an Eclipse, which will be the medium for connecting between the user and SAP BTP account. So we do not need to install SAP GUI or SAP BTP, and then we will be developing application. We will be building integration. We will be creating visualization. We are going to create data model. So everything will be possible, and that kind of services is called as a platform as a service. So SAP BTP is a platform as a service by SAP. And that is how the name is there. Business Technology Platform. Platform as a service, so platform, and it is a technology platform because all the technology related components, tools, and services are there. That is the reason it is called as Business Technology Platform. Now I have been talking, there are multiple tools, there are multiple services in SAP BTP. So let's have a glance at that as well. What are the different tools? What are the different services are there in SAP BTP? So again, if you are going to the product page of SAP BTP, which we are going to discuss in details during this course, there you will see that they have clubbed their services into different buckets or different categories. Whatever you want to call it, that is fine. And here also, I have taken from the different buckets. They have clubbed it. So there are 5 buckets at the moment. I have brought in only 4 because this 4 is kind of relevant for us. So one is the application development and automation bucket. The other is integration. Third is data and analytics. And fourth is artificial intelligence. So you can see all these are services: SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Work Zone, even SAP Business Application Studio. So those of you who are familiar with Web IDE, those of you who have worked on Freestyle UI5 application development and you have used Web IDE or Eclipse for Freestyle Fury application development, now that is also moved to SAP BTP, and it is called as SAP Business Application Studio. Then you have various runtimes, and it is exactly very much similar to the runtimes you had in SAP NetWeaver. The difference is in NetWeaver, it was on your stack. Here it is in the cloud. So you have different runtimes. So ABAP runtime, where your ABAP syntax will be compiled and will be interpreted. There are other runtimes as well, which will interpret different programming languages. So SAP BTP is not only limited to ABAP programming languages. It supports multiple programming languages. It supports JavaScript, it supports Python, it supports various other programming languages as well.
Hi, sir. Excuse.
Yeah,
Hello.
go ahead, please. Yeah.
Okay. So I am from a front-end development side, Fury developer.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have. I have basic knowledge in ABAP, not in depth.
Okay.
So can I opt for this course? Is there any prerequisite like?
A basic knowledge of ABAP is required because if you will see even the course title, it is ABAP on cloud. So,
Yeah.
for example, Ababbers would know how to write a select query. Ababbers would know how to write a loop or any kind of an iteration statement. So, basic knowledge of Abab is definitely required. Uh, but again, I mean, maybe you can wait for a few more minutes, wherein I will be discussing about the kind of prerequisite and what are included in this course content. Then probably you would have a better understanding of that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So then moving on to different buckets. So if you are working as an integration consultant, or if you want to build your career as an integration consultant on SAP BTP, then you have multiple services. You have integration suite, you have advanced event mesh, which is for event-based architecture. So any kind of event, for example, a sales order is changed, sales order is created, that will trigger an event. And based on that event trigger, it would trigger different APIs. So you can integrate with multiple systems based on this event-based architecture. Then you have various connectivity services. You have various adapters to connect to different types of environments. So for example, if you want to connect to system based on SOAP services, based on REST services, then you have different adapters, different connectivity services. Similarly, if you want to build your career in data and analytics, then you have these services. So SAP DataSphere is for creating your data models in SAP BTP. So you can replicate or pull data from multiple environments, be it HANA database or Oracle database or Azure, anything. You can create data models and you can pull the data from different environments. And then using SAP Analytics Cloud, you can create the visualization. Then this has been introduced recently. You have artificial intelligence, so AI core, where I mean, you must have already heard about SAP Joule and the capabilities, the generative AI capabilities that it will bring. So they have provided you various services, which is for generative AI capabilities. You can integrate, you can train this model to perform various activities that you want this model to do. So again, there are many more services. I have listed down a few of them. When we are going in details in this course, I will show you the SAP BTP product page, and then in different buckets, the different services that are there. But uh, not everything we are going to learn, which is not even possible. It is not possible to learn each and every services. One consultant definitely cannot be a pro in all the services, but an overview of the different buckets, the different services, of course, we are going to discuss. And then we are going to discuss about this specific services, which is SAP BTP, this is platform as a service, and then ABAP runtime. So this is called as SAP BTP Abap. Some places it is also referred as SAP BTP Abap environment. So this we are going to discuss in detail. So this is for application development using Abap environment. We are going to develop application in the cloud. It's a cloud native programming that we are going to do. So we will discuss in detail about these services. What are the different components? What are the different syntax that we need to upskill from the traditional ABAP? All such things we are going to discuss here. Okay. So I call it as a buzzword around SAP BTP. So many of you would have definitely heard some of these terms in different discussions, maybe over a coffee table, maybe in your client meetings, maybe from your manager, maybe from your COE team, or maybe from your colleagues, or if you are looking for a job, there also you must have heard these terms in the job description. So, of course, I will try to clear the air around these buzzwords. I mean, when I started my learning probably 3-4 years back, I ended up getting more confused. So I started my journey with SAP BTP, and then I were hearing all these terms, and I ended up getting more confused. So I can understand the pain that we have to go through. That I mean, there are so many new words, there are so many new concepts floating around, and then we need to understand which one is relevant for us, because you cannot adopt, you cannot learn each and every service. Of course, overview is fine, but getting an in-depth knowledge of all the services is not possible. Then that is the place where I am going to help you. because based on my project experience, based on my client's experience, I am going to share and what is relevant that you can build your skills on. So I will definitely clear, I'll definitely, after completing this course, you will be able to understand and at least define that, okay, what these terms mean, which one is relevant for us, what we are going to discuss out of these that we will see in some minutes. Okay. Then the next question, and the most important question that I say, what is the motivation to learn? What is the motivation to learn ABAP on cloud or SAP BTP ABAP? We all have been doing our job as ABAP consultant or consultant in different areas. Then suddenly, what is the need for us to learn ABAP on cloud? Then on the left hand side, you can see that some of the limitations that is there in the cloud ABAP on cloud. There is no SAP GUI. So if there is no SAP GUI, that means you do not have any transaction. So SE11, SE38, SE24, VA01, VA02, MM01, nothing is there. Nothing is there. There is no SAP GUI. There is no module pool programming. So all those screens that you have been creating in SE 51, 41, there is no module pool program in ABAP on cloud. There is no SE38 reports. There is no SE38 transaction. So you cannot create SE38 reports. Then you will ask me, with all this limitation, what we are going to do? For that, you can see on the right hand side, it's a Fiori first strategy. So we are not going to create reports, we are not going to create module pool programs, but we are going to create Fiori application. Then next question, and a very relevant one. Do I need to know anything of UI5, anything about Fiori Launchpad so that I can create this Fiori application? The answer is no. You just need basic ABAP skills, and using ABAP, using annotations, using ABAP on cloud syntax. So again, let me ask you this question. You were working on ABAP, classic ABAP or core ABAP, then SAP HANA came into picture and you learned ABAP on HANA. Was it a completely a new concept or a subset of ABAP on subset of ABAP where you needed to learn few new concepts and you continued your journey on ABAP on cloud, ABAP on HANA as well?
Subset.
Subset. So that is the reason we are talking about RESTful application programming model. And in the next slide, I will talk about a little bit more about that. So it's a subset of ABAP. So the classic ABAP you already know. Now there are some statements, some programming patterns which has been made obsolete in the cloud. And of course, we will learn some new concepts. So using ABAP on cloud syntax, using RESTful application programming model, and that subset is entity manipulation language. So this is also a subset or an extension of ABAP that we are going to learn. So using these concepts, we are going to create Fiori application. So you do not need to know UI5, you do not need to know SAP Gateway or OData service. No, nothing is required. Whatever is required is already listed down over here. We are going to learn EML, entity manipulation language, which is a subset of ABAP or an extension of ABAP. We are going to learn ABAP on cloud concepts. It's a subset of ABAP. So no UI5 gateway or data knowledge is required. Now, still, I have talked about the limitations. I have talked about the scope, what is there. Still, what is the motivation? Now, let me ask you, if you wanted to integrate, let's say Chat GPT or Google Gemini in ABAP, and you are still in an on-premise system, can you do that?
No.
No. Now, SAP S4HANA, they are also releasing their new version, let's say every year at least. Every year they are releasing a new version. And of course, if SAP is releasing a new version, they are adding some more functionality. They are adding more processes, more benefits for the business. What are the challenges that clients are facing that they are not upgrading to the latest version? Cost, I can understand. There would be cost associated. So cost is one of the factor. Ignoring cost, still clients are still using ECC 6.0. I know many clients, they have not yet migrated to SAP S/4HANA. They are still on SAP ECC. What was the biggest challenge that the clients have faced in the past, or they anticipate they will face, and that is restricting them from migrating or moving to S/4HANA or to the latest version of SAP S/4HANA? Any one challenge that you
Yes.
can think of?
Custom code.
Custom code. Exactly. Custom code. And the migration project runs for at least 6 months, years. Even I have seen a migration project running for 3 years. And still it was not 100% adherence to the clean core or to the guidelines which SAP had set. So there are a lot of custom code, and we as an ABAPers, we were very proud to say to the functional or to the project manager, give me any requirement. I would, by hook or crook, I would achieve that. If there is no baddie, there is no customer exit, I would somehow take the keys and I would do a modification in the standard code, and I will achieve that requirement. Did anyone say that to any of your clients or to the functional consultant ever? But we were proud of that. We were proud of that. I mean, for us, it was never ever a scenario that, okay, this requirement cannot be achieved. That was never the case. And that eventually was the reason for all this problem. We have written select query inside a baddie statement. We have written all such kind of statement which were obsolete. Of course, it was giving us warning, but it was never giving us error. And those custom code adaptation for migration is the biggest bottleneck. And that is what will be solved with SAP BTP Abap or Abap on cloud. Here you can already see that SAP is putting in a lot of restriction. Here only whitelisted APIs will be used. It will be a stricter syntax check, not everything that you will be allowed to do. So anything, any point of time, if your client wants to upgrade, it would be very easy. And then again, there are more concepts. There are more concept on extensibility option that we are going to discuss. But the major problem that we had with upgrades, that will be solved. And we are building application in the cloud, so it is very easy to integrate with the new technology demand. If there is an AI, if you want to integrate with chat GPT, if they have an open AI specification APIs there, you can very well integrate that as well. So that is the technology transformation we are going towards, and we will be able to achieve with this SAP BTP Abap. Okay, then let's see a very high level course overview, what we are going to discuss in this course. So I have again categorized into this four modules or 4 sections. So first we will discuss about SAP BTP overview, where in SAP BTP overview, what is SAP BTP, what are the different services, what are the different categories, buckets, all such things we will discuss. Then we will discuss about SAP BTP Abap environment. We will discuss how you can set up your SAP BTP Abap environment so that you can do the development. So everything, the DevOps for SAP BTP Abap, I will be discussing in this course. So you don't need to do it on your own. I will teach you how you can set up your account if you do not know that. Then we will be talking about SAP BTP regions and environment. Again, it will be important because you will have clients, you will be working for clients across the globe. So you need to know, okay, which BTP services available in which region, uh, which environments these are available. So all those things will be important, and we will discuss that as well. Then we will also discuss about the commercial models so that you can calculate the price for SAP BTP services, and you can tell the client that, okay, this is the cost associated with it, and then they can make a wise decision whether to go for that service or not. We will also discuss about RAP versus CAP. So these are the two programming models. RAP, RESTful application programming model, where ABAP will be used. And then we have another programming model, which is cloud application programming model, which is based on other programming languages like Java and Python. So here we are going to discuss about RAP. We are not going to discuss about CAP. So I will just explain the two different programming models that is available in SAP BTP, and then we will continue our discussion in RAP. So, and then another important concept of this course is serious entities. Many of you are already familiar with serious. If you do not know anything about serious, don't worry. We are going to discuss. We are going to discuss about serious entities, type of serious views, what is metadata extension, different annotations in serious view, because we are going to create Fiori application using annotation. So this is what we are going to discuss. Then we will discuss about RESTful application programming model. And in SAP BTP, you already know now by this checkbox that there are two programming models, and we will discuss about RESTful application programming model. So the design time architecture, the runtime architecture, the different implementation type, manage and unmanaged implementation, what is entity manipulation language, and many more. So this is again a high level perspective of that. There are many more concepts in RAP that all we are going to discuss. We will also discuss about the extensibility, the different extensibility options that are available in SAP S/4HANA. So the clean core concept, the types of extensibility, the key user extensibility, developer extensibility, side-by-side extensibility. So all the buzzwords that you might have noticed in that slide. So all those things we are going to discuss. We are also going to do a comparison between a freestyle UI5 application versus this Fiori element-based application that we are going to learn and create, but we will also see the difference, the benefits, and in which scenario which one could be used. Okay. So the course timing, this will be for every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. IST. So every week we will have two classes, and probably we'll be covering 3 hours in a week. All right. So now time for the demo. Before I move for the demo, any questions that you guys have?
Hey, hi, Vishal. This is Avinash. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead, please, Avinash.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, I heard, like, for RAP developments, CDS expertise should be needed, should be there. So, like, we are just like I'm just only having a few basic things on CDS. So, are we gonna uh, have these in deep dive, or whatever things which are needed, we'll be getting it into this class?
Okay, so as a prerequisite, you do not require any prerequisite knowledge of CDS. Whatever is required for ABAP on cloud, that we are going to discuss here. So for example, a CDS with table function, that is not required here. So that we are not going to discuss, but anything like, I mean, the different types of CDS views, CDS view entities, metadata extension, all such things, whatever is needed for CDS entities, that we are going to learn. Even metadata extension, annotations. So you can see already we are going, I mean, we are discussing multiple things related to CDS. So of course, if you are comparing with the course content of ABAP on HANA, then it will not be the same, because there you need to know
It
some
is
other
not.
concept.
It will. I don't want it. It would be the same, but whatever things which are needed for RAP development, those are there, right?
Yes, those are there. Whatever things that is needed for RAP development related to serious entities will be covered in this course.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question from anyone?
Yeah. Hi, Vishal. Sudhir here.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Actually, Vishal, I am completely fresher in BAP, so I don't have any prior knowledge on any other modules such as CDS views and any other Fury applications, or just a core ABAP knowledge. So, is it any other prerequisite to get on
No,
with
no,
this?
no. And even as I mentioned, so whatever that is needed for CDS, it will be discussed in this course. Any
Okay.
prior knowledge is not needed. Only prerequisite is basic knowledge of ABAP. And as I mentioned, because we are going to write select queries, we are going to write loop statement, iterations, maybe write statement, function calls, class, methods. So all those concepts you should be knowing. Even if you're fresher, you are trained in SAP ABAP, that is good enough.
Yeah, just I got just trained in SAP about that's it.
Yeah. So you know what is a class, you know how class is created in SAP ABAP,
Yeah, yeah,
what is a table, what is a data element domain, all those
yeah,
things
yeah,
would be used
yeah.
here. So that is enough.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. So one more last question.
Mhm.
So by end of this course, what we are able to do on BTP?
Okay. So yes, I would be taking reference of real-time project scenarios. Of course, I cannot create the entire application here because those would be huge in terms of processing capabilities and the type of functionalities they will have. But of course, I would be taking references from those applications, and that is what I'm going to show here. And at the end of this course, you will be able to create a Fiori application, deploy that application on SAP BTP, or if you want using other services, you would be able to deploy that application on SAP BTP.
Thank you so much.
Saptash here. Will you be teaching us on SAP API also how to use it?
SAP API, how to use it, the connection to SAP S/4HANA using APIs that we are going to discuss. And here also, whatever we are creating, maybe I would take that question in a while when I'm showing the demo. This would be answered in a better way.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Vishal, are we going to cover any AI scenarios? Have you used or utilized any AI framework
No,
in
no,
your
no.
recent S/4HANA
That
project or
would not
something?
be covered. No, no. Let's be realistic about that. That would not be covered.
And what about form fragments that who would be covered?
Form. You're
Fragment
talking
form.
which one?
Fragment forms. I think OData based services through which we create some
No,
form.
so
Because
right,
in
so the fragment-based form that you're using in Adobe Forms, for that you are creating an OData service in Gateway Builder, not here,
right,
right? So
right,
that
right.
that will not be covered. For that, I mean, you need to create a service in Gateway Project Builder SCGW transaction, and then you are creating that OData service which you are maintaining in Adobe Forms. So no, that will not be covered here. I'll be showing you
I
in
just
a while.
asked
I'll be
this
showing you the
question.
course content. Mhm.
Yeah, actually, I just asked this question because I recently took part in an interview for this Sap Abap on cloud. But their expectation is regarding this form fragment was as well. Because on myself, I tried to learn few things. Then I tried to give interview for Abap on cloud. I have knowledge of Abap and Abap on HANA, but their expectation is that we need to know fragment forms, like user extensibilities, few managed and managed scenarios in rep. So they are expecting that as well.
Right. So again, like I mean, managed and managed scenario is part of this course that will be covered. The key user extensibility that you're talking about, again, from an overview perspective, the different extensibility option that we will discuss here, but that is not part of SAP BTP. Key user extensibility is what you do on the stack only. That is not anything to do with SAP BTP. And again, fragment also, I don't think it could be, I mean, I'm not sure, so I would not be the right person to answer that, but according to my knowledge, I don't think any service that you are creating on BTP you can directly use in your Adobe Forms. Then you will need to use another service of SAP BTP, which is for the forms, and then probably you can use as a fragment forms, but not on the Adobe Forms that you're creating on the stack. But yeah, I mean, I would be very clear and transparent that okay, that will not be covered. And even the key user extensibility, the different extensibility options we will discuss, but the deep diving into the key user extensibility will not be covered in this course.
Okay, thank you. And what about build apps?
No, no. Again, I mean, you are talking about all the different services of SAP BTP. So build apps is
Those are
another
different
service.
services, right? Actually,
Yes, yes.
expectations are higher these days in interview. Maybe they will not provide you the work after joining, but in
No, so
interviews of okay,
yeah, yeah, I
open cloud or
understand. I understand because probably SAP BTP is very new, and even the people. I mean, when I say people, generally from the higher management and people who are working on the recruitment side, they are not aware about what is the concept inside those services. So they are just mentioning SAP BTP. And then in SAP BTP, I mean, I have seen job requirements where people have mentioned about SAP BTP and they're asking questions on build apps, AIs, but their requirement is that they need integration suite because they need integration consultant. So that kind of confusion, I know it is there in the job market, but that would take some time because even for like I mean management people, for the recruiters, they need to understand the concepts, and it's a very new term. Even the consultants are confused. I mean, you can understand their pain, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. One last question, Vishal. Generally, in ABAP, we handle few interface requirements through IDOC or these BAPIs, and we have used
Mhm.
BDCs also. So, are
Mhm.
those similar things are we covering in ABAP on cloud, or is there possibility to handle those things in ABAP on
Okay.
cloud? And are
So
we covering that?
what area in RISEF all these concepts are coming?
It is interfaces. That
Interfaces. So
was using.
we are going to build interfaces. It will be in form of APIs. It will be form of an REST API. OData is a way to build a REST API. So it will be REST API. We are not going to create IDOCs. We are not going to create BAPIs or BDC because those are now old technologies. We are talking about a new technology because if you are doing a cloud development, if you will open Google or any Facebook, those are using microservices. Those are either SOAP based APIs or REST based APIs. So we are going to create APIs. So whatever requirement that you need to integrate through interfaces will be done through APIs, but IDOCs will not be used.
Okay, so we are covering that, right? Interfaces thing in cloud.
Yeah, interfaces, of
This.
course, will be covering that. Interfaces will
Hmm.
be covering because we are ultimately building an OData service, which is an API only. So any external partner can consume that API. The web service can be consumed.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right, then let's move to this demo. Since we are little bit behind schedule, so I will take some of the codes which is already created. I'll not create everything from scratch, but you will get a gist of what we are trying to achieve. Okay, can you see my Eclipse screen? Can anyone confirm?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay,
Only
okay,
presentation screen we can.
Not
okay.
yet. Not yet. We can.
Okay. Okay, so now I hope you should be able to see my Eclipse screen.
Yes.
So this is TRLEN underscore one or EN, whatever you are seeing. These are my trial account on SAP BTP. It is not connected to any backend S4 HANA system. There is no backend S4 HANA system in my machine, or there is no, I mean, there is SAP GUI, but there is no SAP S4 HANA backend system which is connected to this. I have created an account on SAP BTP, which is on the cloud. I am using Eclipse as an interface to connect to my SAP BTP account. That is it. Now, I have already set up this account, but during this course, I will teach you how to create this account, how you can set up this account, how you can install Eclipse, everything I will be covering in this course. Okay, in the interest of time, I already have few objects created. I will show you with reference to those objects. So let me open the database tables as well. So this is my sales order header table. Again, as I said, I will take reference of the real-time example, but of course, in terms of functionality and capabilities, it will be lightweighted as compared to real project scenarios. So this is a sales order header table, and then I have a sales order item table. I have some entries in this table, so I will show you that entries. So I have some entries in this sales order header table. And similarly, I have some entries in this sales order item table as well. So I have some entries in the sales order item table as well. Okay. Now, whatever, I mean, you can see I have created a database table. Most of the concepts you are already familiar, but it is slightly different. The way we create, the way we establish the relationship between the currency and the key, the quantity and the unit of measure, it would be required, but it would be done in a slight different manner. So we are going to learn this, that how to create a database table, how to create a data element, how to create a domain in ABAP on cloud, because the concepts would remain the same, but how do we create in SAP BTP, that we are going to learn. So right now you are seeing two different tables on the screen, and these two tables, I have created two CDS views. One CDS view for sales order header table and one CDS view for sales order item table. So again, I have a CDS view, which is this CDS view for sales order header table, and this CDS view is for sales order item table. You will see a lot of keywords which you will not understand at the moment. Don't worry. When we are learning these concepts, we will discuss about those concepts. For example, you are seeing a keyword as root. You are seeing as a keyword as view entity. So you are seeing a keyword as composition. All those things we are going to discuss. So you already know about join and association. Even if you don't know, we are going to discuss that as well. Similar to that, in the item CDS view, I have created the CDS view based on the item table, and here you are seeing an association and different concepts. The projections you might be knowing if you have worked on CDS view, but this also we will see. And what is a key, how to expose different elements, all those things we are going to discuss. Then what I have done is I have created two extensions. How do I know? If you will see a spiral like icon, that tells you that, okay, there is an extension. And similarly on the item also, there is an extension. And these extensions are metadata extension. What is a metadata extension? That also we will discuss, but I will just show you the metadata extension for the moment. Okay. So I have added the annotations in the metadata file. Anything that is starting with @, these are annotations, and there are a lot of annotations that are available, and we will see whatever is relevant for our case. We will see one by one each type of annotation, the uses of each annotations that we are going to see. So these are the background objects that are already created. I think even the service would have been created. I have to delete that now. So let me close these tables at the for time being. Okay, then on top of this CDS view, what I need to create is a service. Let me try to delete this so that I can show you once again. So one of you asked me a question regarding the APIs. So if you will see here also, we are creating an OData v2, which will be used in UI. So you have an option. This I will show you. You have an option to choose this. So OData is nothing but a way of creating a REST API only. So it will create a REST API, and this will be used in interfaces. All right, so I have deleted that. Now I will create a new service. So this is the sales order header view, which is my root view. I will select this. I will right click here. I will create a new service definition. I'll give it as a name, service definition. I will click on next. Okay, so in the service definition, you are exposing whatever views that are there. So the sales order header view is automatically exposed by the framework. I will expose this view as well because I would be using this also. All right, I will activate it. So the service definition is created. It is activated. Now I will right click on the service definition and I will create a new service binding. Now let's copy this name first. Okay, in the binding type, you see an option. In the binding type, I have an option to select this OData version v2 UI, OData version v2 web API. So if you know that this service will be consumed in an UI5 or a Fiori application, you will select the OData v2 or v4. These are the two different versions of OData services. If you go to odata.org, you will see the different versions that are available. So OData v2 and v4 UI is for if you want to use this service as in Fiori or in a UI5 application. If you want to expose this as a web API, then you will select OData v2 web API and either v2 or v4. And then you can give this OData service to any of the front-end developer or any of the integration consultant, and they will consume this web API. So you are building an interface using an OData service, and that can be used either in Fiori application or it could be used by external consumption or external applications as well. So since we would be deploying it on a Fiori application, we will select OData v2 UI, and then I will click on next. I will click on finish. So here also you see the binding type, that OData v2 UI. That is what that you chose in the last screen. And at the moment, this is not activated. Let me activate it first. And if you will see the local service endpoint, it is unpublished. Let me publish the service and then you will observe something. And then those of you who have worked on Gateway Project Builder, they would be able to relate it with some transaction in Gateway Project Builder. And I would ask you this question, that which transaction you could relate it to. It is not important to know Gateway Project Builder, but since one of you asked me questions related to Project Builder, uh, I will explain that as well. Okay, a service URL and endpoint is generated. Can you relate this endpoint to SEGW or the Gateway Service Builder, where you were getting this endpoints? It is not relevant, but if you know, so you were basically, if you were creating an OData service, you were using IWFND maintain underscore service to maintain the service, whatever version v2 v4 locally, and then a URI was generated, and that URI you were using in the gateway client, or you were giving to the Fiori builders, or I mean the UI5 builders, or for external application. So here also a kind of an URI is generated, which is your local endpoint URL that is generated. So I will select this, which this is my root node, and then I will do a preview. So it is opening the browser. It will again ask me to give my login credentials. This is the login credentials of my SAP BTP account. I'll give my credentials. I will log in. So you can see a Fury application preview. We are doing a preview of the application that we have created. And it's a very simple one. So if I will click on go.
Eclipse screen. We are unable to see.
Okay. 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 So now you might be seeing this Fury application preview. So
Yes.
From the Eclipse, when I clicked on preview, it opened in this browser. It asked me to give my credential back, and then this application is open. So here you can see the sales order header information. If I will click on this, I will see more details. So again, I mean, this is not a full-fledged application. It's a very simple application that I have created. So these details are coming from the annotations that we have added. So if we add annotations, you can see the multiple facets. So this is one sales order header details. I could add one more for sales order item, and then I will see item, whatever is there, that all we will see. Uh, Again, I have not implemented the rest of the functionality, so it will not work perfectly now. So you have an option to, you can select and you can delete, you can create, all such options are there. I have not added a filters because I mean, we will be able to add filters here, and everything will be through annotations. So this is how we are going to create an application using our ABAP skills and some subsets of ABAP that we are going to learn in this course, and we will create a Fury application. Not like this, but I would say a much more complex and a much more better application than this. Maybe I could show you that as well. So what kind of an application we would build. Right. So those of you who have worked in a Fury application, the list and object template. So that is the template that would be get created using RAP and Babban Cloud. So you will see a similar kind of an application. Here you can see if I click on go, it will fetch all the data. So it is fetching the data from the sales order header table, and of course from other tables as well. I have multiple filters over here. So for example, if I copy this agent or everything, okay, I'll copy this one. So if I give anything in the filter, it will filter out that particular record. Similarly, if I give a filter for the customers or sales order number, even that would be possible. So let me remove it. And then this is a generic filter. So I don't know on which all columns I have given this filter, but this is a generic filter. This is like a fuzzy search. So if you have tagged, let's say, all three columns for this fuzzy filter, then you keep on typing the value, it will search. So let me try. I think it is on sales order number. No, it is not on the sales order number. I don't know which all columns I have given this filter. Then you have various other functionalities. You have an option to create, you have an option to delete, you have an action button as well. So if I select this, let me select this one, then you can see that this action button is getting enabled. If I select this record, this will not get enabled because it is checking on this sales manager value. Then if I will click on any of the sales order header, it will navigate to the next object page. And here you are seeing multiple facets. You have the sales order details, then you have the customer details, then you have the line item details. So here for this particular sales order, I have 3 line items. You are seeing this all the line item details. So here you can navigate using these tabs as well. So line item details, sales order details, that also you can do. Now, this is a multi-level application that I have created. So if I will click on this item details, it will navigate to another object page and you will see the schedule details. So when this item is scheduled to be delivered, that also you will see. So this is an application I have created with one of my previous batch, and a similar application we are going to create. So this is the kind of an application we are going to create. So all the functionality that you are seeing over here, the sorting functionality, the search functionality, the filter, the different tabs, the different object page, all those things we are going to create. So this is what we are going to learn and we are going to create. And there are more functionalities. I have not discussed about each and every functionalities. So there are like, I mean, this action button, which is a feature control. There are more validations, e-tags, draft functionality, all those things we are going to discuss. So with that, let me open the detailed course content. So on a high level, I showed you what are the different modules that we are going to discuss. So now this is a detailed item-wise course content that we are going to cover for the next 35 hours at least. So you can see the introduction to cloud terminologies, then SAP BTP overview. I'm going a little bit faster in this. Stop me if you have any questions. Then we are going to create the DDCI structure, the data dictionary objects in Abap on cloud. Then we will deep dive into core data services, and whatever is needed for CDS views, we are going to cover here. Then we will jump into RESTful application programming model. So all the concepts related to RESTful application programming model, the read-only, the transactional application, managed and unmanaged scenarios, the design time, the runtime architecture of RAP, the evolution of RAP, all such things we are going to discuss here. Then we have behavior definition, behavior implementation, all the components of behavior we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss the entity manipulation language, and then other behavior characteristics, like, I mean, the determination, the feature control, the actions, all such things we are going to discuss here in module 9, 10. Then we are going to create a Fiori element app, and we will I'll also show you that how you can connect it to backend S4HANA system, how you can deploy the application on SAP BTP, all those things we are going to discuss. Then we are going to discuss about the different extensibility options. So here you can see the different extensibility options. We are not going to see all the components of key user extensibility. Of course, developer extensibility and key user extensibility can be achieved using Abap on cloud. So that will already be covered, but key user extensibility is something else. But the overview, what are the different types, that we will discuss here. All right, so with that, I think I am done for this demo. And again, I'm open for any questions that you might have.
I'm Santosh here. I want one question. See,
Yeah.
generally, when you're developing the reports, you do have complex logic coming into play. Like, for example, you want to generate a sales and billing details. You have to go to VBFS. I'm taking one example. If I want to write logic for the output, so in this case, the demo which you have shown me just now, where we can write.
Yes. So options for the output, can you clarify a little bit more? What options for the output you want? The position of this column, the description of this
Not
column?
about the columns. For example, based on, for example, you are generating a sales report. You have radio buttons in the selection screen. Based on the radio button you select, based on that you want to show the output. And also for every column, you have certain logic written behind it.
Right. So again, I mean, it would not be ideal to compare with SE38 report. Again, I mean, there the look and feel, the functionality that you were achieving.
Not about
exactly.
look and feel.
Yeah,
My point.
I understood your question. So let me try to answer that. So exactly one-to-one relation will not be there, but the different functionality for the columns. Let me show you this. Observe this behavior, this sales manager, what you're seeing, this value 54678. if I select this particular record, I will click on this action button. This got changed. So there is a logic written behind this that, okay, if I click on action, the sales manager value will be changed with the current user or whatever I've written, that will get changed. So you are referring to this kind of functionality, right? That for certain column and certain functionality. Yes, yes, of course. For radio button selections, that would not be there, because here you have a different kind of an option. You have filters over here. So based on the filters, yes, you will see a different result here. And again, this button is also getting enabled based on the type of record that you're selecting. So if I'm selecting sales manager, which is already with 5x5, it will not get enabled. If I select this one, you see this is getting enabled. So yes, the logic that you're asking, it would be possible to write the logic.
Okay. Most probably at the service level, we have to write the logic.
What do you mean by service level? So yes, we will be creating serious entities, metadata extension, annotations, behavior definition, Abap pool class. So there will be a lot of objects. Depending upon what kind of functionality we are implementing, we would be writing those functionality in different objects. So I cannot say a generic answer that, okay, where we are going to write the logic. It would be at different places. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions from
and one
anyone?
more question: we have any Adobe Forms kind of output here?
No.
Okay, no printout kind of stuff.
No. I think even you or someone else was asking a similar kind of question. Not exactly this, but yeah, that will not be here.
The question was regarding
it is a
fragments
real-time
form.
application, right? So it is a real-time application that we are creating with no attachment. Yes.
So is it outside box, or it is not included in the course regarding the forms?
It is not included in this course. There is a provision to have attachments, but again, it's very complex and it is not included in this course. So once you have a basic understanding, probably, I mean, you can explore on that how you can include attachments.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so you're saying there is no form output kind of stuff here. In S4HANA, we have Adobe Forms output. How about BTP?
So BTP, you have different services. Yes, in BTP, you have different services for forms. Here we are talking about the front-end application, a real-time application. So yes, I mean, here you do not require a form kind of an output. So maybe whatever information you need, you can capture it from the application itself, right? So the
That's okay. For example, I want to take.
Yeah, I understood the printout that you want, maybe with the logo, the different address, the different templates.
Yes,
that is there.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be possible, but not with this service.
Okay, then we need to use another service for that.
Yes.
Will that be part of our curriculum?
No.
There is a separate one.
It's a separate one. It's a separate service.
So it will be a separate syllabus. You will be not teaching that here.
No, I'm not teaching that here.
Okay. The focus will be on only RAP, right? Mostly.
The programming model is RAP, yes. So mostly, I mean, I'm not sure if that is the right question, because yes, it is a programming model, and along with RAP, we will be covering many more things here. But to specifically answer your question regarding Adobe Forms, yes, that is not covered. But here we will be discussing about. I mean, you can see the content. You can see the content. I can scroll it one more time, and this I would share as well. So any specific module that you want to see what is covered here?
Okay. If I want to consume outside OData service,
that is possible. That will be covered. That will be covered.
Okay.
That is possible. That will be covered. I have listed down creating more data somewhere. Yeah, this is the part where destination and cloud connector setup we are going to do. So here we are going to consume the OData service from our backend S/4HANA system.
You will be providing system access to do the practice, right?
So for this, I will tell you how to create an account, the SAP BTP trial account, and that will be enough for all the practice that you need. I will be telling you each and every step that you need to perform in this class itself, so that you can do the system configuration and setup.
Thank you for the information.
Okay, so this batch is going to start from next weekend. I mean, again, it was a continuation. Some of you have already attended the demo last time as well. So this was a kind of a continuation where we discussed a little bit